Entiendo que sí. Aquí esto fue lo que hice. Bueno, estamos nuevamente. Ahora vamos a empezar una sesión con DMF Lighting. Estamos esperando que se una a nosotros los diferentes panelistas. Con ustedes, nuestro capitán va a ser Manfredo Ochoa. ¿Está por aquí?
Muy bien.
Así que, Manfred, ¿qué te ha parecido hasta ahora?
Bueno, la primera sesión muy interesante. Bueno, Rotel es una fábrica que nos gusta mucho y es muy bonito trabajar con ellos. Mucha tecnología, equipos muy robustos y de alta calidad. Así que, por lo visto, vienen cosas muy interesantes.
Yo también
Speedy va a estar muy bueno.
Ese Michi, cuando lo teníamos aquí sonando en la oficina, estaba impresionante. Así que no me puedo imaginar qué va a ser el Michi de la segunda generación.
Sí, tremendo. Tremendo. Vienen cosas muy, muy interesantes con esa fábrica.
Aquí está nuestra amiga Mandy Boughton. Mandy, good morning. How are you? Todavía no.
Se está conectando.
Se está conectando.
Está ahí. Bueno, y ahora la segunda sesión va a ser con DMF Lighting.
DMF Lighting.
Que es una fábrica que siempre es muy interesante porque siempre nos la encontramos en expos como Nvidia. Así que los productos están muy orientados al custom electronics, al mundo de custom integration. Así que muchos de nuestra red de dealers en Latinoamérica la han visto por ahí, conocen de la flexibilidad de los productos, la flexibilidad en los productos, en las aplicaciones y la facilidad de instalación de esta fábrica. Así que estamos preparándonos para una muy buena sesión de DMF.
DMF estamos empezando en México. Es más, estamos mostrando DMF Lighting en México ahora mismo. Déjame enseñarles una foto que tengo por aquí de nuestro estante en México. A ver, aparecerá en algún momento, pero pueden ver. Aquí tienen una foto, aquí. Ese es nuestro estante en México, en la Integra Tech de México. Y aquí en la parte de abajo pueden ver a DMF Lighting, que si pasan por el estante la pueden ver en vivo estando allí. Good morning, Samantha.
Good morning.
Or is it Mandy still?
Samantha's here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, here we go.
Awesome. Excellent. I am doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you very much. So who's this?
This is Samantha.
Samantha, how are you?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me today.
You are in California, correct?
Yes, that is correct. I am at our headquarters right now in Carson, California.
Originally from Boston.
That is correct.
Oh, Boston. Excellent. We're actually headed there on August 29th. We'll be there for a couple of days. We're actually going to see your Boston Red Sox with the Astros.
Oh, awesome. Good for you. That'll be a fun time. Hopefully the weather's nice. The weather's been terrible there, I hear.
You know, I have a sister that lives in Arlington. She's been a public school teacher for 26 years in Boston.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. That's right. So we're gonna see her. I have some trivia about you. You're one of 9 kids. That's correct?
That is correct. I'm the oldest.
Wow. I have 5 sisters. I thought I was a Brady Bunch, but you got me beat.
I know. Usually people are like, I have a lot of siblings. I'm like, I probably will bet people that have beat me.
So eventually your parents got a TV in the bedroom, I see.
Yeah, Yes, yes.
Excellent. Well, I think Mandy is going to join us at some point. This is Manfredo, by the way.
Nice to
Hi,
meet you.
Manfredo. Nice to meet you.
Excellent. Looking forward to hear from you.
Hey guys.
Hey, Mandy, how are you? We are live on YouTube at this time.
Awesome. I'm excited. Thanks for having us.
No, thank you. So we're gonna let Samantha take over. And so if anything we need to interact with you, we'll be here online.
Awesome.
Great. So you're gonna have the control to share your screen, maybe?
Okie doke. Hold on a second. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, let me know if you get the screen.
Yeah, hold on. My All right, can everyone see everything?
I see a screen with X and H series.
Perfect.
You got it.
That's what we're going to go over today. So my name is Samantha Orzel. I am the Director of Commercial Growth at DMF Lighting, which is essentially in our marketing department for the commercial sales channel. And I am accompanied by Mandy Boughton, who is your sales manager that you know and love for the East. And today we're going to tell you about our X and H series families. The way we're going to structure the presentation is we'll try to keep the slides to a minimum, get through these pretty quickly, and then finish it up with a live product demonstration in our studio so you can see the products up close and personal. So with that, the X series and H series are essentially our expanded small aperture offerings. We feel, and I think you guys have probably seen the trend as well, that small aperture fixtures are really becoming increasingly popular in the market. Somebody wants, a ceiling that looks less like Swiss cheese and is much more quiet and yet comfortable. And what we've done with our small aperture offerings, I think, is really given you some nice, high quality value light, while also addressing some of the service challenges that small aperture fixtures face. So just like you are familiar with, hopefully, with our DRD product and our M series, both of these families have not only a downlight family, but an accompanying cylinder family. So the H series, which has been shipping for about a year, is going to have a H series cylinder family that's going to start shipping next month. And then our X series family, which has been shipping for, about 6 months now, is going to have our XC cylinders shipping later this year as well. So we'll get into the X series first, because this kind of has the most feature rich, I should say. But looking at the family setup, you'll notice that it looks really familiar to how we structure our other product families. So there's a housing, there's a module, and then there's a trim. At one point last year, 2 years ago, we made the move from 3 modules to 2 modules. So that's no different with this product family. We have an adjustable and a downlight. A trim family, you'll notice there are a few trims missing that you're used to seeing with our M series. That's because this was the first phase. We will have some additional trims added here. And then we have 2 housings. So that's a little bit unique. When we had our one frame before we transferred it over to the M series, the one frame was similar to this, where it was just one housing. So we kind of went back to our roots a little bit, but I think we integrated some features into this housing that are going to, make it a little bit more flexible than our one frame was. So in terms of spec overview for this product family, you're going to get 750 through 1500 lumens out of the module. So if you're familiar with our DRD product, those are pretty much the exact same specs. So you're really getting the same light output out of a module that's half the size. So it's, pretty impressive, and we feel that you can actually use this solution as a swap out for your 4-inch fixtures, 1-for-1, without having to change your spacing for a ceiling height of 12 feet or less. The CRI is going to always be high quality with DMF, 93 plus CRI for all of our static color temperatures. Tunable white, as you probably know, is going to range depending on the color temperature you're at. So our range for tunable white is 92 through 96. Static color temperatures are your standard 27K through 4,000. Tunable white is a brand new option for us. It's not quite shipping yet. It should be shipping in October. We're going to have 2 versions of that. One that's more commercial, that's going to go 6,500 Kelvin down to 2,700. And then one that's more residential, and for residential applications that will go 4,000 Kelvin down to 1,800. The tunable white is going to be controlled, at least initially, only by our Dolly 2 integrated driver. So that's going to be a brand new integrated driver for us, launching next month for the static color temperatures, and the month after for the tunable white. And this will be Dolly certified. So we're going to be, confident that this is going to be compatible with really anybody's Dolly 2 controller out there. Warm dim is going to be the same warm dim that you're familiar with our DRD product, going to go 3,000 down to 1,800 Kelvin, but that is not going to, be contingent on a control type. You can use warm dim with Triac ELV 0 to 10 volt or Dolly 2. And then, as always, dual voltage. I know in your territory you probably don't hopefully see too much 277, but in case that's required, you do have 120 through 277. In terms of optic options, for the downlight, those ones are a little bit different than the DRD. So you'll notice 2 major ones are missing: the 15-degree narrow spot and the general ambient optic. Otherwise, the optics are exactly the same. And the reason we don't have the narrow spot or the GA optic is, in terms of the narrow spot, to get 1,500 lumens out of a small aperture, we had to change up the LES chip that we use a little bit. And the narrow spot would, because it's so narrow, essentially cut off the field angle of that chip a little bit. So no narrow spot. And then in terms of the general ambient, because the trims are set or regressed more to help with glare, and you just don't have as much of a face on the module, we don't offer a general ambient either, and that the LED chip is a little bit too far up, whereas with the DRD, it's nice and shallow and can come close to the surface. So you'll notice those 2 are missing. Adjustable optics are going to be exactly the same that you're familiar with our DRD4. So no changes there. So some exciting options. We have gotten a lot of requests for a little bit lower lumen. So we actually finalized, I believe it will be 500 lumen. An option will be launching pretty soon. So great for your hospitality applications or any situation where you just want a subtle accent and you don't really, need a full 750 lumens. Some other exciting options: we're going to have a 12-degree optic for our adjustable coming out soon. And then the hex louver says coming soon, but the hex louver is actually out now and shipping and available on our cut sheet. So you should be good there. So in terms of the trims look pretty similar in terms of the trim finishes that you're familiar with. Last year we launched standard trim finishes: matte black, warm diffuse, which is kind of like a champagne color, and then clear diffuse, which is like your Alzac, and then also a dark brown. But some new trim options that we're offering with this product family that I will show you when we switch it over to the studio are going to be our micro flange. So, a lot of people really love the look of flangeless, but they don't want to deal with the headaches and the labor implications of having to get your drywall contractor out there, being confident that they're able to do a level 5 finish. There's, additional time, money, and just coordination required. Our micro flange trim gives you a really, really nice thin trim flange while not having any of the labor implications. So that I think is a great new feature. It's the same exact cutout. A lot of other manufacturers, their micro flange trim requires an element of mudding and taping after. Our micro flange, because of the collar system that I'm going to show you, doesn't have any of those implications. So it's exactly the same cutout as your standard flange. The wall wash is just a mini version of the new lensed M series wall wash that we launched last year. Mud and wood millwork installations. So we do have a special wood collar for any kind of wood flangeless installations. We can always do custom RAL finishes, or I know for those coastal areas, you might need some kind of anti-corrosion, sea salt finish, that kind of thing. We can certainly do that. And then some other trims that are coming out that will match our M series are going to be a new pinhole trim and hyperbolic. Pinhole will be for both round and square, hyperbolic round only, just like the M series. Those you should see coming after the first of the year. So in terms of the housing as I noted is going to be a little bit different from what you're used to. The first thing that people usually notice if they're familiar with our M series housings and how compact they are is, why is this housing so much larger? So it's actually, it appears a lot larger. It's longer for sure. It's only 1.5 inches deeper, or actually, sorry, 1 inch deeper. It's 5.5 inches deep. The reason we had to make the housing larger is because I noted when we were going over the specs that you're getting the same exact lumens out of the 2 inch that you're getting out of your 4 inch. So with that, it's generating a lot more heat than our 4 inch modules were. Additionally, we've redesigned the adjustable to set above the trim, whereas our DRG4 sets within the trim, just to make it look a little bit more architectural with the X series. And so because of that, we needed some place for the module to articulate back, especially, in all directions, so you could get 360 degrees of rotation. So in terms of the notes, compatible with a 1/2 inch to 1 1/4 inch ceiling. So you'll notice these bar hangers I'm going to show you. The bar hangers are not actually adjustable. The way that we adjust for the ceiling height is a collar piece. And the reason it's capped at 1 1/4 inch ceiling, because we get some pushback on that for obvious reasons, is when you have the adjustable at the full 35-degree tilt, anything above 1 1/4 inch ceiling, you're going to have some cutoff. You can get with a fixed downlight up to about a 1.5 inch ceiling. And we are working on some a revised wood collar that's going to accommodate up to a 3 inch ceiling. So we do have some other solutions coming out. If you do have a unique ceiling install, reach out to us. We can always review it and see what we can offer. So don't let that scare you. The other piece I like to point out is you'll notice there's, this image is just showing a piece pulling down. I'll show you in the live studio demonstration, but essentially what that's showing is we have a cord that allows you to open the back of your junction box and access all of your splices at the ceiling plane. So this housing is really designed once you install it, so you never have to go back into the ceiling, break into the ceiling ever again. Everything will be serviceable from below the ceiling once you install that housing and wire it up. So XC cylinder. We have your standard mounting types for our XC cylinder. I'm going to start with our pendant. Our pendant mount is going to come in a cord or stem. A new feature for this is the stem is going to be field cuttable. So we've revised our stem now so that we don't thread it. When we threaded it, it created some issues because if you had a really long stem and somebody was trying to field cut them on site, it could be pretty challenging to get that thread back through the stem. Additionally, when you do field cut the stem, there's some chipping. So we added a component to cover the chipping on the stem so that you don't have that issue. The wall sconce is going to be ADA compliant. You'll also see, I'll go back to this slide pretty quickly. There's going to be two sizes for this XC cylinder. So the size you see in this picture with the decorative acrylic trims is our 9-inch size. The 9-inch size, you'll be able to do direct and indirect light up, down. So essentially use two modules because the XC cylinders, as you may have guessed, are utilizing our X series module. So, we're really utilizing the same components throughout the space to allow you to have the same color quality and the same light distribution. This wall sconce that you see here, you'll notice the size has changed a little bit. That is our 6.5 inch. Our 6.5 inch pendant size is going to only be able to accommodate one module. So 6.5 inch, you can have one module. If you want direct and indirect, you have to go to our 9 inch. But the great thing now that we're using a 2 inch module as the basis of design rather than a 4 inch module, the wall sconce does not stick out past 4 inches, making it ADA compliant. The wall sconce also has an IP65 listed version, which is exciting if you have, exterior location requirements. And then we have our surface mount. Our surface mount is going to mount right up to the ceiling because it is a smaller outer diameter in total. You can almost cover a 3.0 junction box so that it's almost flangeless. It's like a micro flangeless look. But the exciting news on the point of flangeless is we are going to be offering a flangeless canopy. So if you looked at the cut sheet for the X series cylinder that's on our website, you will notice there is a flangeless canopy option that we're pretty excited about. The other nice thing is we're going to have a canopy with an integrated EM test switch. So if you have any applications which require EM battery backup and you don't like the dreaded, remote test switches that you have to locate everywhere all over your ceiling, we will have a canopy option that has that integrated for a nice clean look.
Samantha, quick question for the downlight on this series. Do you have an option for wet location for weather resistant?
Yes.
And for the cylinder too, you mentioned, right?
Yes. So I should have noted that. So for the downlight, the X series downlight is wet location. The adjustable is damp only. For the cylinders, we have wet location for everything except for the cord mount. Okay. One note is the wall mount is not going to come wet location standard. You have to specify it because if you don't want wet location, sometimes the wet location mounts on a junction box. So you can see the bracket looking straight on. Sometimes people want a really nice, clean, sleek look and they want to mount it on a switch plate. The damp location version will mount on a switch plate. But yes, wet location for everything. We've only started to get IP6 or IP ratings, I should say, for our cylinder families, but we are working on some IP65 rated or higher specific trims. So stay tuned for those to come out. But yes, the module themselves are UL wet listed. So you should be good there for any kind of exterior applications.
Excellent.
So you'll see we have the variety of trims that you're used to with our X series, decorative trims, a snoot. You can't see in this picture, but we are introducing a fixed wall wash trim, partially because we redesigned the adjustable, so we cannot fit it in the extrusion. But the wall wash trim has been something people have been asking from us for a while now. So you should see that on the 4-inch cylinders to follow as well. And then just some application shots. We do have a specifier X series kit. So this is designed really, with designers in mind as a resource for you to be able to show your clients. We have 2 modules. On the left, you have your fixed downlight module. On your right, you have your adjustable, a collar, so you can, play around with how the fixture adjusts, a micro flange trim, a wall wash trim that's flangeless, and then you have some color chips, all of your different optics, a dimmer, a cord, and a video brochure. So that is a resource available to you. If you're interested in it, please reach out to Mandy. We can, help coordinate getting those in your hands. And then I'm going to transition to our H series. So our H series is going to be a less feature-rich product family, but a much more cost-effective product family, especially when maybe you lead with the X series and you want all of those features, but then, your budget gets cut as it so often does. And you still want, relatively the same look and feel. So the H series we designed to be, at about half the price to a third of the price of our X and M series product families. So really, really cost effective, but you'll see, it's very simple in terms of what is being offered. So you have 3 different housing types, a bar hanger housing, screw-in joist housing and then a remodel housing. I'll get into what makes those housings special, but they're essentially made of PET plastic, so they're made in the United States. We really wanted to find a way to create a sustainable housing that we can make domestically. You'll also notice there's only one module, so we only have a fixed module for this. We don't have an adjustable module, but we do have an adjustable trim. So the way we do adjustables is slightly different. The other piece you might notice is the trims are all going to be white. We do use a wet paint for this, so you can field paint them, but just in terms of kind of minimizing SKUs and keeping things simple, we are stocking a white trim only. And then you have 4 different options. So there's 2 different sizes for the H series. You have a 4-inch size and then a 3-inch size. So for your V, for the X series, you would more be focusing, I think, on the 3-inch size. And that's why, and I'll show you them side by side so you can really see the comparison when I cut to the studio. But you have within each of those aperture sizes, an adjustable trim, a square trim, a round beveled trim, and then in front, you'll have a flush mount trim, which is great for some, getting light high on the wall and some junction box applications. Product was really designed to be more residentially focused. So you'll notice from a lumen package standpoint, it goes up to 950 lumens. So not quite as high as the X series or M series, but it's going to be, sustainable, ships super fast because we don't have to make any modifications for it, change dimming type. It's kind of what you see is what you get. So this is a great product as well if you have a really tight timeline and you need something that can get out the door same day, next day. The module itself, you'll notice, has a switch on the back. Most people, when they see that, immediately assume that it's going to be a CCT switch. It's actually a lumen switch. So that's going to allow you to toggle between 350, 750, and 950 lumens. We decided not to do a CCT switch in that in order to do that, you have to use multiple LED chips. We really pride ourselves on providing you a really high quality light, and to make this, cost effective, we wanted to use an LED chip that was going to be high quality, but give you, what the majority of people want. So we use a Bridgelux natural warm dim chip that goes from 3000 down to 2200. So not quite as intense as the DRD or the X series warm dim, but it really gives you that subtle dimming curve that gives you the feel of incandescent. So natural warm dim, we just touched upon that. The other piece with this product family is rather than dimming down to 1% or 0.1% with our dolly that you can get in the M series and X series, this is going to dim down to 5% standard and triac dimming only. So this will give you a feel of how our natural warm dim kind of really warms up and can change, the feel and look of the space. And then in terms of the setup, no different than anything else. You have a housing, a module, and trim, and super flexible. So here is a look at the trim options up close. One thing I want to point out is the adjustable. Because our 3-inch is a true 3-inch, I think a lot of manufacturers say 3-inch, but it's really, pretty much closer to a 4-inch. Our 3-inch is a true 3-inch, which is why I think it's a good VE option for our 2-inch. But because of that, the module is 3 inches. There's essentially nowhere for the module to articulate up into the housing with the adjustable. So the adjustable does sit proud of the ceiling. So I do always like to point that out because a lot of times with small apertures, you want it to be less noticeable. And if you are using a lot of adjustables, that could potentially be a deal breaker. But that gives you an idea for what they look like. And then installation, just like you are traditionally familiar with. The housing, sorry?
No, go ahead.
The housings are IC rated, even though they're made of plastic. A lot of people, get weary of that. IC rated, airtight, wet location. So that is a nice feature of this. With all of our other products, the adjustable options are damp listed only. With the H series, you do now have a wet location adjustable option because we're using the trim for adjustability.
Mm-hmm.
So here gives the spec points up close and personal. The cut sheet, pretty simple. And then the H series cylinder, I will cut to the studio and show you these live, but these will be coming soon. They're not quite on our website yet, but I wanted to make sure that we got these included. These are going to use the H series module as the basis. So they're going to be warm dim only, 350, 750, or 900 or 950 lumens. And then you'll have a wall mount or a pendant mount. The pendant mount is going to always have that decorative lens. So it'll come in stainless or satin nickel or white. And then the wall mount will come in white or black.
Excellent.
And then just to kind of give you an overview.
Will we see them in Cydia this year?
Not in Cydia, because the H series is a product family that is for our commercial segment only, not for our luxury residential segment.
Okay.
So H series compared to X series, I think we touched on most of these points, but just to kind of give you an idea, this is, you know, how the spec points lay out side by side. And with that, I know we don't have a ton of time, so I want to just show you some product up close before, oops, stop share. All right, so I will cut to our, oh, it says I can't start my video.
Let's see. Let me see if I can give you. You can start your camera, you said?
Yeah, when I click it, it says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay, let me check on that. Try now? No.
You need to activate your camera on your side.
Yeah, I am. It's just saying you cannot start. Every time I click it, it says the host has stopped it. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. It was working because I was testing it before I started. I think there must be some setting maybe for the attendees not to have video. Oh, you know why? Probably because you made me an attendee on my, I'm on the training computer. I bet you that's why. I'm probably not a panelist on this computer.
That's
That's
probably
what the issue is.
Hold on. I'm going to change you to
Make a host.
host. Try that.
Okay. Woohoo!
Oh,
Yeah.
We're good. All right. So just to kind of give you a quick overview, I know we're short on time. I want to show you the two modules up close and personal. So this is our X series adjustable module. As I mentioned, we redesigned it. So it does articulate up above the ceiling 35 degrees. You don't get a full 45 degrees because it is now up above the trim. And then our X series fixed module just looks like a miniature DRD.
Yep.
Much smaller size. You have your integrated driver on the top. For those who've never seen it, this is actually what our driver looks like. So that's what sets up here. And that's why we don't have a driver within the housing. Field changeable optics and lots of flexibility.
Beautiful.
The trims, as you're probably familiar with, just like our M series, for the X series will twist and lock onto the module. And you can go from round to square. The square we've actually redesigned to have a mixing chamber on it, so you get more maximum light output. Go on the M series, you get probably 20 to 30, I would say, percent light loss going from round to square. With the X series, it's about only 10. So really high performance light output. We also added a Solite lens onto the square trims so that you can help with glare. So this right here is going to give you an idea of the standard bevel trim versus the micro flange. So you'll see it's a much thinner flange, you know, much more architectural, but gives you, you know, none of the labor implications. So the other piece I want to point out is, so I mentioned how we made this housing a little bit more flexible. These 4 screws actually remove. So in the case that somebody roughed in the housings, you know, early on and then decided they wanted to add some squares here or there, what we can do is ship you a new
Square adapter.
square piece, exactly, and add it onto here. You can also adjust it, so you can rotate it just like you can with our M series product up into the ceiling. The other piece that I did not review earlier in the presentation is our collar piece. So the collar piece is really what makes our X series housing unique, and that it makes it impossible for you to overcut the fixture up in the ceiling. So you essentially take your router around the inside of the housing. That collar will then ship with the trim. It ships automatically. That's why you don't see any extra part numbers or pieces on our cut sheet. So we wanted to make it, something you didn't have to think about. And then the collar will come flush with your ceiling. You'll tighten it. It'll smooth out all of those rough edges. You'll take your module and trim. And you have a nice clean attachment, no trim sag, no overcut.
Yep, that was one of the issues with the M series, the DRD2 sign on the one frame. You could see that happening.
Mm-hmm. So the collar, nobody likes additional pieces, but we do think the collar adds a lot of
value
that outweigh any of the kind of uniqueness to it. So by comparison, our H series module is going to be pretty similar in size.
Yep.
You'll see some major differences. So here's the lumen switch on the back. You might be able to see on the screen, there's very faint little kind of brightness icons. No field changeable optics. You kind of get that perception because there are little clips on the side, but if you take it out, you'll just have access to the LED chip. So no optics on this product family. And then rather than the fixtures twisting and locking onto the trims, they're going to snap onto the trims. So that's another main piece, especially with the 4-inch. I get a lot of questions if you can, after you install, if somebody say wants to switch to a different trim style or something, can they use the H series module with an M series trim? You can't. The module sizes are different and the way they attach to the trim is different.
Okay, so we have to end the session because I have another one coming now. It's a scheduled event, but we thank you for all your time this morning. We can perhaps do this with a little bit more time in the coming weeks. No problem, whenever you can, and when it's not 7 a.m. in California.
Yeah.
So we greatly appreciate accommodating the schedule for us and being here with us.
Of course. Thank you guys so much. And stay tuned for more. We have lots of good stuff coming up.
That's right. I'll see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.